Overwhelm doesn't always come from having too much to do. Sometimes it shows up when you're doing nothing at all. You sit down to start something simple and don't. Not because you can't, not because you don't want to, but because everything feels equally heavy, equally important, equally unfinished. So instead of choosing, you stall. And that's where most people misunderstand overwhelm, because it doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes it looks like stillness. You tell yourself, just start. But start where? One task leads to another leads to 3 more. And suddenly, it's not about what to do, it's about what to do first. So you hesitate, then you delay, then you distract yourself just enough to not feel it. But it's still there, waiting. There was a woman named Mira who thought she had a motivation problem. She didn't feel overwhelmed. She felt behind on things she hadn't started, behind on decisions she hadn't made, behind on a version of her life she couldn't fully see. From the outside, nothing was wrong. From the inside, everything felt unfinished. Here's the part most people miss. Overwhelm is not about how much you're doing. It's about how many things your mind refuses to let go of. There's a difference between stress and overwhelm. Stress says, "This is a lot." Overwhelm says, "I don't know where to begin," and that difference matters, because stress pushes you into action. Overwhelm pushes you into paralysis. Mira started noticing it everywhere. She would open her laptop and close it, start writing, then stop, pick something small, then second-guess it. Not because it was difficult, but because it didn't feel like the right thing. And when everything feels like it might be wrong, doing nothing starts to feel safer. So the question becomes, if overwhelm stops action, why does doing nothing feel just as exhausting? Because your brain doesn't track effort, it tracks open loops. Every unfinished task, every delayed decision, every "I'll deal with that later" stays active. Not in the background, but just beneath the surface. And when enough of those stack up, your mind doesn't feel busy, it feels overloaded. This is where overwhelm becomes emotional. Not from doing too much, but from holding too much. You start to feel pressure without urgency, anxiety without a clear cause, stress without visible chaos, which makes it harder to explain, and even harder to fix. And this is why just relax doesn't work, because you're not overwhelmed by activity, you're overwhelmed by unresolved attention. Mira realized something that changed everything. She wasn't overwhelmed because her life was too full. She was overwhelmed because her mind was trying to hold all of it at once. Every task stayed open. Every thought stayed active. Every possibility stayed unfinished. So she stopped trying to manage everything and started doing something smaller. Closing things. Not perfectly, not completely, but intentionally. One decision finished. One task resolved. One thing no longer carried, and something unexpected happened. The feeling of overwhelm didn't disappear, but it loosened. Because for the first time, her mind had less to hold on to. Because overwhelm isn't just about too much. It's about too much that feels unresolved. And when everything stays unresolved, everything stays present. And when everything stays present, everything feels overwhelming. So if you feel stuck, it may not be because you're doing too little. It may be because your mind has been holding on to too much for too long.